Voices from the road. 2 truckers, 1 road, endless mysteries.
Hi, I have a message for all the lovers and the haters. This podcast, including all content within the Renee Freer murder series, is sole property of its creator. The case discussed in the series is a closed matter and is no longer an active fact-finding mission. The purpose of this podcast is not to investigate, present new evidence, or influence any legal outcomes. Instead, it serves as a discussion platform. All opinions expressed throughout this series belong solely to individuals sharing them. Every perspective is welcome here. We do not discriminate against differing viewpoints. There is no right or wrong opinions, only personal interpretations and reactions. The podcast is intended purely for entertainment and open conversation. The events surrounding this case impacted many people in different ways, and this platform exists to allow individuals to express how it affected them personally. We do not judge, we are not a jury, and nothing discussed here should be interpreted as fact beyond publicly known information, nor as an attempt to assign guilt, innocence, or motive. By listening, you acknowledge that this is a forum for discussion, opinion, and reflection, not an investigative or legal authority. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is Tales from the Road. I'm Ralph.
And I'm Beth.
How you doing,
It's
folks?
nice to meet you. Finally, I have Ralph here, and tonight's episode is basically still having to cover the Renee Freer murder series, but this is a little different because we're going to be talking about a controversial subject, which is about ghosts and mediums and things like that. And it's going to be a little lighter, a little bit more entertaining because not everybody believes in this kind of thing. And it was involved, they had mediums involved in the case. And a lot of true crime and murder and police stations, do ask for that kind of help. They don't advertise it, but they will seek the help of a medium here and there. So, but a lot of people think it's, voodoo or, hoopla, it's against the religion. There's all kinds of people in all kinds of beliefs. So,
Listen, if you believe in ghosts, you got to know that energy doesn't die. So I believe that there is.
I have my protection on.
Energies that can be seen or absorbed or whatever, but apparitions.
What is a ghost?
They, they're real. I believe in it.
Have you ever seen one?
Yes, I had a couple of incidents where made me a believer. So I'd be glad to tell a story.
I've seen a ghost. If you comment below if you've seen ghosts. I mean, I grew up in Monroe. Monroe is highly haunted. When I met Ralph, we moved into a town which had, what'd they say?
There was more dead people than live people.
Than living.
Seymour, Connecticut.
Seymour, Connecticut, known for having more dead people than living.
Well, that's how the whole story starts when we were living in Seymour, and we'd go visit cemeteries around town on Sundays, or, I'd have the kids with my son. We'd go and check out, names on the tombstones, and they'd be from 1700s, because this part of the country, you have the oldest grave cemeteries in the country, and it's actually fascinating to see some of the names that, and stuff like that, and years that they had passed away. But on the other hand, it's actually, a thing where you can get attached to a spirit that's in that cemetery, which I believe to this day that it could happen, because it happened to me. Well, actually us. After going to cemeteries, for a couple of weeks, it was one Sunday we came home. We were just hanging out and talking, and all of a sudden the bookshelf in the room fell over because we were talking about what we had just done, and it was just kind of eerie, and we all kind of looked at each other,
and the light switch got pushed down, like somebody shut the light off.
It just was the
switch got turned down, but the bookshelf didn't fall over. It actually was like crates that had stuff on them that actually got like lifted and turned down. The stuff didn't like fall out.
It just made you wonder, like, wow,
like,
that just didn't
how'd
happen.
that happen?
Yeah, it was just weird. But what happened in that apartment in Seymour, there was 2 incidences that really convinced me that, either we brought something home from the cemetery, or it's just, that's in the, in the area or whatever, in that property. That's just the clock going off. It's fine. Well, anyway, I was in the parking lot one day with my son. We were working on the car, and I had opened up the passenger door, and we were doing something, me and my son, and we turned around. There was a...
Wait, let the song play. We really should time these better.
Goes off every hour.
Well, yeah, that's what clocks do.
Oh, really?
But why isn't the other clock going off? Every time we do these podcasts, one clock goes off in the other.
It's nice at Christmas time. It plays Christmas music also.
So go on. They were in the parking lot, and they called me out, and they're like...
We were in Seymour. We were in the parking lot.
They were new to the area.
My son and myself were in the parking lot with the car. We opened up the passenger door. We were standing there just talking, and this kid appeared out of nowhere wearing like knickers from the 1700s. And he kept saying, "Have you seen my llama?" Now, I looked at my son, and he looked at me, and we were looking at the kid, and that's all he said. And he was pointing up to the top of the hill, like in the woods, right? And so we were looking up into the woods, and when we turned back to look at the kid, he was gone.
So these two unknowingly
I
said,
went one way. There was nowhere for that kid to run.
Maybe we could help him. So when I come out, they go, "Beth, there was a boy just here looking for his llama. We should help him." And I go, "What?" They're like...
It was lifelike.
It
was an actual boy.
He was pointing up there. "Is there a llama farm over there?" And I was like, "There's no llama farm over there. There's a street with houses over there."
When I tell you...
So we got in a car, and I took them around to show them like how the neighborhoods are laid out. And like there'd be no llamas or and then that's when it dawned on them how he was dressed. And I'm like... No,
it then started adding up. That
didn't make sense.
Yeah, because when he disappeared like that, it was like instant. Because it was the way the where we lived was a building in the parking lot. In order to get to the other side, you would have had to walk quite a distance one way or quite a distance the other. So it's like he couldn't just have disappeared, instantly like that. And when my son got the hair stood up on the back of his neck, and I had felt the same way after that, when we seen him disappear like that, I knew that, wait a minute, something's wrong here. First of all, there's no llamas, and why was the kid in my brain going back and remembering what he was wearing didn't match to what kids would be wearing today. So we started going back and forth about, hey, going to the cemeteries, did we, see anything with any, kids' names or, what I mean, with short dates, back in that era, and we couldn't remember anything. But
so growing up around Connecticut, I'm sure there's, tons of stories. Like even when you watch those television shows, most of the hauntings that you hear about on those shows are all in the Northeast, and a lot of them are in Connecticut. And
to finish off that property, with going to cemeteries in Seymour and all that, the bookshelf falling in the room and everything feeling kind of eerie, knowing that something was wrong, didn't feel right. The kid in the parking lot, disappearing, that really kind of set things, to what we're, dealing with. And one other story in that apartment where we were living, I got up one night and I was sitting up in bed and the TV was on. And I was staring at the television and all of a sudden a face appeared. It was like a boy, man, whatever, but, a young guy. And his face, I can see it to this day, full head of hair, just the head, just like materialized from the screen. And the picture was in the background of the TV playing, but this head was like in the television, and it floated from the television. I go this way, and it floated from the television right to the wall. And when it went across the wall, it was still looking at me with its eyes open, perfect. I could tell you what I could draw it to this day, and it just went, poof, was gone. So to me, that shows like, that was energy that was attracted to like maybe the television or something, or somehow they use energy to show themselves in some kind of form, but then it just disappeared in the wall. But the way it floated right across, I knew something was off. And that kind of convinced me that, we're not, there's energy here that, we leave behind, and you just have to be aware of it. Not that you have to be afraid of it, not that it can harm anything, but it's, it's here, and you just need to recognize it. And
that's like, what is a ghost? We're built with energy. So like, where does your energy go when you die?
It's right around us.
Do you believe in heaven, hell? There's so many different beliefs, and that's why, it makes you wonder, are spirits able to communicate with the living? How do they communicate? Can a dead person talk through somebody? Okay, Ralph.
Yes.
Did you ever do any seances when you were a kid?
No, we played with a Ouija board once.
You did?
Yeah.
Really?
Back in the late 70s, early 80s.
I played with the Ouija board too.
A bunch of kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I don't remember opening up a portal, but it seemed real. It scared the hell out of me.
You never levitated anybody with 2 fingers? Or was that just something girls did at slumber parties?
No, never levitated.
Oh, we used to do that. I also used to breathe underwater and fly, so that's just me, though.
We got stories.
That's for another podcast.
Well, we can put it out there.
But anyway, there are some stories about the Warrens, and we did a ghost hunt, and we're going to show you that. We're going to show you our ghost hunt videos, and we're going to get into that in a minute. And you've all heard of Ed and Lorraine Warren, and they are from Monroe, Connecticut, where I grew up. And if you're from Monroe, then you know all about them as kids. Did you hear about Ralph's missing some fingers? Did you hear about
Hear about what?
Annabelle growing up? Or is that something just Monroe kids knew about?
No. Listen, I didn't even know Monroe existed. It was land at a loss to me. I grew up in Wallingford. She grew up in Monroe.
Now he thinks we're all part of a cult.
It's just a weird town. And just from an outsider looking in, it's different. And got to spend some time there. And I can't explain it, but it is what it is. And
we are who we are.
Yeah. That's a kook, and I got to deal with her.
Well, Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Friends.
My mom was friends with Lorraine. I mean, they were nice church-going people. Annabelle has been locked up in her little glass case since we were kids. I don't know why Hollywood let her out, and I don't know what anybody's doing, but they have the occult museum, which we never went to. Our parents didn't take us to it, and we will still not go to it. The
Well,
Warrens.
That goes to where the spirits and entities ended up in objects.
Right.
Not just like a house, but like a doll or...
Annabelle is actually just a Raggedy Ann doll. I'll show you some pictures of that in a minute. And, they, the Warrens, are they fakes? It's been said. Are they legit? I don't know. I went to Catholic school. So exorcism, that was a real thing. I mean, we had heard about it. What did you know about exorcism?
Well,
the movie?
Well,
Reagan?
Well, going back to my childhood, the first book I ever read was Amityville Horror. And that, I remember being curled up, like reading a book. I'm not a big reader, by the way. I just, remember reading that book and being like literally scared. I mean, it was, as a kid, had to read it for school and had to, kind of explain everything about it. But, we did the Ouija board.
That was your school reading, Amityville Horror?
Well, we had to do book reviews or whatever the hell they call them. And, we had to, read a whole book. Ouija boards, doing stuff, in the woods late at night, being scared. But I don't know, not like Monroe. Monroe's different. They, had some of the oldest cemeteries in that area.
Yeah. We had a cemetery with Hannah Carana. I think she was a nice old lady. I don't know. But she was a witch is what we were told. She was a witch, supposedly, who made candles. And I don't know, the kids spilled the wax out. I don't know. I'm getting old now. I can't even get the story straight. But Hannah Carana, the Witch of Monroe. We had some crazy things. And we're going to get into some videos for you right now of our ghost hunt.
I could tell a quick story if you want.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't know, going back to everybody's known people that passed, and they always say close friends or relatives, if they did get to the other side, show me a sign. People show pennies or something or dimes they find on the road, and everybody's looking for this sign from this, dead loved one or a friend. And I always said, well, I've had friends die when I was younger, and always said, well, if they're going to come back, they're going to show something personal and make me believe that they're okay, But there was only one instance that we had. I think it's a quick story was Beth and I, we've been on the road, trucking, and I gotten into a friendship with an old friend I've known since I was, 10, 12 years old. Was a family friend, and he lived in Oxford, Connecticut, and he used to call us 3 times a week, and he was just a loner. And he used to talk to me and Beth, and, we'd conversate about daily stuff. And, we did that for years. And, but the thing is, he used to always end the conversation with, good night, Bethy Bear. Now, Bethy Bear was Beth. All right. So, he would just say, because, it was kind of like a neat little thing, hey, good night, Bethy Bear. But between you, me, and Beth, nobody knew,
because I hated that.
That was the only.
I've been called nicknames my whole life.
Beth and I only had the conversations with that person in that truck, and never associated anything with his name or anything to anybody. It was just me, Beth, and him. That was it.
Yeah.
And so time went by, and he had passed. And what happened was, she had gone to go see a medium in Monroe. All right. And when she came home, she said, at the end of the reading,
I'm walking out the door, and the medium
walking out the door with
out.
all these people. The medium came up to her and behind
she
her.
She actually yelled and said, "Excuse me, is anybody know Bethy Bear?"
So,
and I stopped dead in my tracks, and I turned around and I said, "Never heard of her."
Now,
I was so mad at our friend because I knew exactly who was asking.
And it wasn't that long after he passed.
And I marched home and I said to Ralph, I am so mad at Danny.
Well, right then and there, I knew that there was no way that anybody else could have known that. So in my thoughts were, there's got to be some validity to this.
It's called validation.
So I had to meet this woman.
And that's what medium readings need.
So I went and I sat with the reading with her. And so, just trying to kind of figure it all out. Like, how can this have happened? I mean, how can she have come up with that name? And there's no rational explanation of why she would have known that.
And that's a key thing that.
So to me, there is ways of people showing
proving sign. That's the proof.
There's avenues.
That's the word that we needed to bring into this is validation. Validation is key in this situation. Validation is the proof. Another quick story is we were running our truck out in the Ozark Mountains, stopped at a rest area. I go to the rest area, the middle of the night, there's 4 Harleys lined up, not a person around. I'm like, who would be 4 Harleys and no people? My husband's got the truck. I walk all the way up to the hill to the rest area. There's nobody around but a cat. And the cat looks just like Putty, my brother's cat. And the cat keeps following me back to the truck, and I'm going, Putty, what are you doing? And I'm goofing around with this cat. And I'm going, Ralph, this cat keeps trying to follow me back to our truck and get in. And I had to walk back up to the bathroom, and I go, Kitty, Putty, you have to stay here because I don't want a cat to be coming near the truck or get run over or come near the cars. And I had to walk back there 3 times to get this cat to stay there because I didn't want the cat to get hurt. And I'm going like, gosh, that cat looks just like Putty. I go, it looks just like Gary's cat. And finally we left, and Putty sat there just staring at me. And I was like, bye, Putty. Love you. Goofing around. It's not my brother's cat. It's in the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas. And the next morning I called my brother and his wife, and I was like, you're not going to believe this. Putty was in the Ozark Mountains last night. Kept trying to get in the truck with me. And they're like, Putty passed away last night. And my heart sank, and I got chills, and I was like, Putty must have been on its way to heaven through the Rainbow Bridge. And if you have an animal, that's your thing. But it was like me. It was validation. Like that cat looked exactly like my brother's. It was in the middle of nowhere. Time was standing still at that rest area. There was motorcycles, there was cars, there was no people but me and Putty. And Putty was trying to come with me, but Putty couldn't. I couldn't take Putty.
The Ozarks are kind of...
And the Ozarks are known for magical and mystical. And
it's a strange place.
Putty was on his way somewhere and said goodbye to Auntie.
Can I tell my hooker stories?
No. So again, a validation of some sort, when somebody's in passing or doing something, I mean, I grew up, with an aunt in Bridgeport who had a little boy who played with her pots and pans and sat on the stairs in the old house in Bridgeport. They did exorcisms and everything. And the little boy didn't want to leave. And they finally found out that he died of scarlet fever in the house. And he just never passed fully, but he didn't bother anyone, and he was safe and he was fine, and she just let him stay there and play with her pots and pans forever. I don't remember what happened, whether he finally went to rest or not, but I remember he was always moving the pots and pans out from under the cabinet onto the floor, and was always in the back stairway of the old house in Bridgeport. And he was a little boy who died of scarlet fever. Strange things, So
if you look hard enough, you'll find it.
Yeah, always look for the signs. They're there. But they gotta be validated somehow, and that's the thing. So do you believe or don't you believe? Did you ever have a
experience?
If you're closed off to it, you'll probably never see it. Some people don't believe. Some people do.
Hey, what are those ghosts that they come back and they have sex with you in your sleep?
Such an idiot. There are ones, and they're mean.
They're
hags.
They're dead hookers.
They're hags.
They're dead hookers.
They're hags. Trucker mind, can't change it. But anyway, so now you're gonna have witness the worst ghost hunt in history, and but. That is a amazing cemetery. So take a visit there, and you're going to see a little bit about the Warrens. And first, I'm going to show you a video on the Warrens. And let me say that the Warrens did. Well, let me show you the video first. Good
night, folks.
So, decided that the fun's not over yet. We're going to go to the ghost hunt first. Then we're going to jump into the Warrens and then the medium reading. So, enjoy. Hi, everyone. My name is Beth, and here I am at the Stepney Cemetery. And I am just checking out the lay of the land, because tonight we're going to come back and we are going to do a ghost hunt. This is actually the home of the White Lady. She goes back and forth between this cemetery and the Union Cemetery. It's very beautiful. It's very old. This cemetery was established, I believe, in the 1700s. 1787, I think. It's the earliest recorded burial. It's on Pepper Street in Monroe, Connecticut, which is my hometown. When we were kids, we used to come here. Did actually have a ghost follow us out. Tell you that story another day. It's a good one. There's a lot of old headstones here. Some of them are falling over. It's a very interesting place. If you ever do have time to walk through a New England cemetery and read the headstones, you can learn a lot about history, about the ways of life back then. A lot of young deaths. Lifespans were very short back then. But this cemetery is just famous for a few things. One of them was somebody hit somebody once and never was a body found because they think it was the White Lady. There's also someone in here that will tap on your shoulder if you say their name, and I'm not going to tell you what the name is because I don't want no taps on my shoulder, thank you. Google it if you really need to know. Stepney Cemetery, Monroe, Connecticut. Anyway, it's most famous for the site of Ed and Lorraine Warren are buried here. Beautiful headstone, beautiful bench put in. A lot of trinkets left on their gravesite. People must visit here often. Beautiful site. They, of course, are the renowned ghost hunters, the Conjuring movies, and of course, our famous Annabelle. That if you were born and raised in Monroe, you want nothing to do with her. She needs to stay locked up in her little glass house in their house. But lately, Hollywood's decided that she needs to come out and be dragged around, and I don't know, they're not really learning their lesson. And I hear she's coming out again. Want nothing to do with that. Guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But Raggedy Ann dolls are not your friends. I don't know what it's going to take for people to figure that out. So anyway, just getting the lay of the land, and we're coming back later tonight, and we will figure out what's going on here after dark. See you later. Welcome to the worst ghost hunt ever. We arrived back at the cemetery just after dark, ready to begin our ghost hunt. It had to be one of the coldest nights of the year. It was like 13 degrees, and there were 4 of us. me, my husband Ralph, and our friends Doreen and Scott, I decided to use a ghost app with SLS tracking. You know, the ones where you see stick figures. You've seen that on TV, I'm sure. Within minutes, the app lit up. There were stick figures everywhere. That's a headstone, and those are stick figure ghosts. And we walked straight into the cemetery, straight down the road into it, and there were headstones on either side. And those were stick figures going back and forth, and there's another headstone. At first, I thought maybe it was us. So I had Doreen walk out in front of us to test it. So there's Doreen testing it. And that's when I realized the figures weren't us. The figures were actual ghosts. They were moving around the headstones, walking and running everywhere. At some point, Ralph disappeared. I thought I lost him in the cemetery. I was calling out his name. I thought maybe a ghost took him. I don't know. Ridiculous. But it turns out he went back to the car and just stayed there because it was freezing. So anyway, meanwhile, the ghost didn't seem too interested in us. They just kind of wandered around, and so did we. It's like they were at a shopping mall. Headlights kept shining through the cemetery, which didn't help the mood, because it's on a very busy street. So it just was uneventful for me because none of us were actually afraid of ghosts, and the ghosts were not afraid of us. But it is a very active cemetery, don't get me wrong. We even stopped by the graves of Ed and Lorraine Warren at night, but honestly, it looked exactly the same as it does during the day, so I'm not even going to bore you with that. And after freezing for way too long, we decided to call it. It was basically the worst ghost hunt ever, but granted, if you do want to do a ghost hunt, this is the place to go. It is very active. You will probably see something. It's a fun place to go. It's interesting. I've seen stuff when I was a kid. People report stuff in the area all the time. As you can see, I did pick up a ton of stick figures. I mean, they could care less we were there, but they're having a party. So there you go. There was our ghost hunt. In the quiet corners of America, where ordinary homes held extraordinary fare, two names kept resurfacing: Ed Warren and Lorraine Warren. Ed was a self-proclaimed demonologist, a man who believed evil wasn't just an idea. It was a force that could enter your home, your life, even your body. Lorraine, his wife, claimed she could see what others couldn't: spirits lingering in the shadows, entities watching from just beyond the veil. Together, they stepped into places most people would run from. They founded the New England Society for Psychic Research, dedicating their lives to cases that defied explanation. Families called them when noises wouldn't stop, when objects moved on their own, when something unseen felt far too real. But their work didn't stop at hauntings. In some of the most disturbing cases, the Warrens were drawn into crimes where the line between human violence and something darker seemed to blur. They consulted on cases involving alleged demonic possession tied to real-life killings, most famously the trial of Arnie Cheyenne Johnson, where the defense claimed a demon, not the man, committed the murder, and it became one of the first times in U.S. history that demonic possession was used as a legal defense. To the Warrens, evil wasn't just responsible for fare, it could be responsible for bloodshed.
Some of the most chilling investigations would become legend. The Amityville Horror, a house said to pulse with darkness. The Annabelle doll, a seemingly innocent toy with a violent presence. And the Enfield poltergeist, where a young girl's voice may not have been her own. To believers, the Warrens were protectors standing between families and something far worse. To skeptics, they were storytellers or something else entirely. But whether you believe them or not, one thing is certain. They didn't just study the darkness. They claimed it stared back.
Okay, when it comes to Ed and Lorraine Warren, and I say talk a little about them, it really is a little about them. There were some newspaper articles and nothing is really concrete. And I say that because she showed up on the murder scene. She claims the body was moved, but she's not very specific about anything. She doesn't say whether the murderer moved the body or a parent moved the body or the cops moved the body. She is not really good at notes. There's no notes ever found. There's a couple of stories that were written by other people, but never anything by them. There's stories that they had a couple of seances. They're conflicting because they're stories by different people that are told by different people. So I'm not going to get into that. One says Renee showed up. The other one says nothing happened. So don't even want to go down that road. But they were all held by the Warrens, and then there's no notes from the Warrens about seances. So what do you do? But they did, legitimately show up there. But again, there's never anything written by them. So you don't know what's true and what's not. There is one story which I have a gut feeling is true, and it's by a neighbor. Who knew, Renee? Here's a clock chiming in again. This clock always has something to say, tell ya. And it's Steve Biley. He was a cop, and he tells a story that Lorraine Warren always said, watch for signs. And they, the details of the story are iffy. I don't know if I believe that he actually slept in Renee's room. I don't think that's true, but Renee had a cat clock, the one where the tail went back and forth back in the 70s, tick tock, tail wagged. And they say that the clock never worked, but after Renee died, he stayed at the house or something to look for a sign one night, and the clock started ticking. They asked Renee for a sign or something, and Renee gave the sign. The clock started up again. So I think that one's true. I don't know why. Maybe because I like cats, and I don't know. That just seems like a good one. So, they witnessed that. So I think more than one person probably witnessed that happening. And no one ever said that wasn't true. There's no conflicting stories with that one. So when it comes to the Warrens being involved in the case, there's no concrete evidence directly from the Warrens, but some newspaper articles of them being quoted about being there on scene at the beginning, the Monroe police, calling them in just as, they would also just show up. I mean, they were from Monroe. They were always willing to help. My mom knew Lorraine.
Warren. She was a good-hearted person. She was a good Catholic woman. Everybody has their opinions about them. There's rumors and this and that, but I don't know. We're Monroe people. We stick together. We stay away from Annabelle. We don't go to the occult museum because, I don't know, they kept that stuff under lock and key, protected us Monroe people and us kids from that stuff, and they went to church every Sunday. They were good people. That's what I believe, So everybody's entitled to believe what they want. So it is what it is. So anyway, we're going to continue on to the next portion of the podcast. And we're going to continue to go down the road and get more serious and work our way to the medium reading next. So here we go. As we explored Renee's case, we spoke with several mediums. While many shared similar impressions and overlapped, one version stood out. What you're about to hear is a dramatic representation inspired by this impression. It's a brief excerpt from this transcription, and it's chilling. This segment is sole property of the Voices from the Road podcast.
I'm sensing something very gentle, a small presence, like a child. Sweetheart, are you here with me?
Yes, I think so.
Your energy feels very young, small. Can you tell me about yourself?
I was little. 8, I think. Like I playing outside with my friends.
I'm trying to see what you're showing me. Can you tell me about the day you're remembering?
It was later in the day. After dinner, I think. I didn't have much time. Just a little while to go outside and play.
I'm seeing even light, not dark yet. Does that feel right?
Yes. It it was still light outside.
I'm hearing a name. It feels like it might belong to you. Do you remember your name?
I think my name is Renee.
Renee? Yes, that feels right. Thank you for telling me. What happens when you went outside?
I thought I was going to meet my friends. I just wanted to play for a little bit before I had to go home.
I'm sensing someone else nearby, maybe more than one person. Do you see anyone?
There was an older boy. He said he wanted to play too, but he wasn't nice.
I'm also feeling another person. A girl, maybe?
Yes, there was a girl there too. She was older than me.
What was happening between them?
The boy was being mean to my friend.
Why was he trying to hurt you?
He was being mean to my friend, and I told him I would tell on him.
So you stood up for your friend?
Yes,
What happened after you said that?
he started chasing me. I didn't like it. It scared me.
Did the girl try to help you?
Yes, she told him to stop. She didn't want him to hurt me.
I'm sensing anger from a boy, loud energy. Did he yell?
Yes, he yelled at her. He told her not to tell anyone.
What happened to you then?
I tried to run, but I tripped and I fell on the ground.
I'm seeing something in his hands, something heavy from the ground. Does that make sense?
Yes, a rock. A big rock.
Can you see what he was wearing?
Blue jeans and a white t-shirt.
What do you remember while you were on the ground?
I was screaming. I remember looking up, but I couldn't really see the sky. There were a lot of trees above me. I could only see little pieces of light through the leaves.
How did your body feel?
My face hurt. I was bleeding. I didn't understand why he was hurting me.
And the girl who was there, what was she doing?
She tried to stop him, but he yelled at her again. She was so scared, too.
I'm losing a feeling a little. Are you still there? Sometimes this happens. Spirits, especially children, the connection can fade quickly and they move away. It's not always something they control. Renee, if you're still nearby, can you show me anything else? I'm not getting her as clearly now. The energy just thinned out. That happens sometimes in readings. They came through for a moment, give pieces, and then the connection slips.
After that, the room grew quiet. Renee was gone.